I'm Forrest Saunders standing in front of the state capitol. So is Florida in play, or are Florida Democrats just playing politics? That continues to be the question as we get closer and closer to November. But DNC Chair Jamie Harrison, he has some thoughts. Check it out.
Florida is in play. That's why I am here right now.
Democratic National Committee Chair Jamie Harrison emphatic Tuesday that despite what you might think, Dems have a serious shot in Florida.
We're opening offices. I feel good about the direction that we're going, and I believe that in November of this year, once again, we're going to be saying Florida, Florida, Florida.
His optimism buoyed by this. Last week's announcement that Florida Democrats have fielded candidates for every legislative seat this year. It's a first for the party in at least 30 years, and something the state chair thinks will drive turnout.
1/3 of our state at this point is independent. And if they don't have a Democrat to go out and to vote for, they're more likely to stay home, which means that their say of where our state is and where it's going becomes muted.
Turnout trouble, one of the biggest reasons Democrats lost big in 2022. The GOP nabbing supermajorities in the legislature and making a clean sweep out of the Florida cabinet, including the governor's office. Since then, the state party is in rebuild mode. Democrats focus, they say, on voter registration, ground game, and maybe getting a boost from abortion protections on this year's ballot.
Don't mess with the women of America.
President Joe Biden trying to capitalize, too, making a campaign stop here in April. That says his team keeps saying Florida is winnable and that it will invest here. But at the moment, states like Wisconsin getting way more attention. The Biden-Harris team has 48 campaign offices there, 32 of them in counties won by Trump. Compare that to Florida, 3 open, with 11 more expected by the end of the summer.
Well, we are assessing every state to figure out what we need in those individual states.
The DNC chair said offices would grow exponentially as needed, but didn't offer hard numbers or investment plans.
I have a good friend who often says this. He says, when people say you don't matter, that you don't count, you teach them that they don't know how to count.
To Florida Republicans, it's all rhetoric.
Florida is a red state. It's going to be a red state. We're going to win in November. We're going to win big.
State GOP Chair Evan Power thinks Democrats are just trying to push Republicans to spend here. The Sunshine State, he said, is fool's gold for them. And the long list of candidates they've fielded future, quote, participation trophies.
In 2020, Democrats had a 100,000 voter advantage. We're looking at a 1 million voter advantage by the time we go vote in November. And if you look at the intensity out there, people are becoming Republicans at a strikingly high rate, and people are turning out and voting Republican at a higher rate.
Power also says a statewide get-out-the-vote effort is in the works for Republicans and daring Democrats to spend here. A bet Freed and Harrison at least sound likely to call.
The stars are aligning. The planets are aligning. And Florida is going to be in that mix. And it's going to be one of the states that people all across the country will be watching very closely in November.
Yeah. So in the end, is Florida in play? Well, really, that comes down to the individual voter. You got to remember here that independents are still the vital demographic that need to be tapped into if anybody wants to win the Sunshine State. And that is because here in Florida, neither Republicans nor Democrats have an outright majority. So it's all going to come down to what happens and turnout on November 5th. That's the latest out here at the state capitol. I'm Forrest Saunders reporting.